There we go. Okay, so this is bank fundamentals. This is where we are going to talk about relationships. Okay, so this is called bank. The name of the company is Codebreaker Technologies, but it was actually started as a sales tool to get more prospects, to have people get larger deals, to convert more sales, and to close sales faster. That was basically what it was. So that was the original focus. However, what happened was, and people did, because we are personality based, we're people focused, but we are profit driven. Because you know what? When you have a successful business, that impacts everything else, especially if you happen to be the breadwinner of the family. But this happens to men and women. If we are business owners, we need to have a successful business. And right now, so many people are being kind of like left in the lurch because their businesses are closing, or they're having so many less things, so many less people coming into their business. So what can we do to change that? So our current focus now is relationships. People started saying that, this communication tool saved my marriage. It made me a better parent. That's for myself. It made me a better parent. It had, like personality science helped me find my perfect wife or husband. It saved my son's life because we are still personality based. We're people focused, but we're also we're purpose driven. We want to have better relationships, whether it's with ourselves, with our friendships, with dating, with our marriage, parenting. Okay, so now we've just spent the last little bit talking about that we have to be in love with ourselves and accept ourselves as how we are. That once we know how to accept who we are, this personality, you have a personality. So this is what we're going to talk about, and I want you to you'll note that who you are. So this has been around for 2,500 years, and we are going to talk about how it works. So there's the 4 personality types. And this is why it's called bank. We are blueprint, action, nurturing, and knowledge. Okay, so we're going to talk about each one of those. Now, this has been, as I said, this has been around for 2,500 years. The Hippocrates, he's known as the father of medicine. He had the 4 temperaments, and that's what he used to treat people. So what I want you to realize too is that we've talked about 3 different. This is the third thing that we have talked about. We had 4 learning styles. We had 4 levels of learning. Now we have 4 personality types. Okay. Most people have taken some kind of personality assessment. Their DISC, MBTI. I've done the color wheel. I did the color code. I did the animals. I've done all of those. Okay. So, but now the missing link to that, though, was that from all of those things, I found out who I was, but it didn't help me deal with the people around me. How many of you have ever thought that you just wished you had an easy way to figure out how that other person that's driving me crazy, what is making them tick? What is making them do the things that they are doing? Whether it's a coworker, a spouse, or a child. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to crack the relationship code. Okay, so this was actually made famous in the movie, the Da Vinci Code, and they had that little cryptex that had a vial of vinegar in it, and it had the secret to the Holy Grail. The only problem is if you put in the wrong word, it destroyed the evidence. And so that's how we think of our bank code. If you talk to somebody in the wrong code, you can destroy the relationship. Okay. And so lots of times because we tend to talk in our own voice, We talk the way we talk. Well, you'll deliver the right message, you'll deliver that right relationship, that right conversation, that right presentation, that whatever right thing that you're doing 25% of the time. But the most common mistake is that you deliver the wrong message 75% of the time. If you don't know the code of the other person, your child, your spouse, whatever. Whoops, we went the wrong way, sorry. Let's go this way. So that's a 1 in 4 or a 3 in 4. Tony Robbins always says to let your prospect determine your presentation. I equate this as not my prospect, but my spouse, my child, the person I'm dating, my coworker. You want to talk to them how they want to be talked about. So let's meet the 4 personalities. Okay. Because one of the things that there are like over 7 billion people in the world. There's over 6,500 languages, but there's only 4 basic personality types. And so we feel that this can be one world, one language, and it's the language of people. Okay. So we're going to talk about the dating and marriage. And, have you ever wondered why when you're dating, everything is rosy, everything is good, you are just so in love, and everything is hunky-dory? I think it's Jerry Maguire in the Jerry Maguire movie that's like, you complete me. I loved that scene.
Hey, I'm waiting on that.
Yeah, I loved that movie. That was just such a perfect scene. What happens? That's exactly what happens. And because we just, we're so in love, and then we get married, and then marriage sets in. So, or we get a new job and we love the people we're working with, and then all of a sudden the person sitting at the next desk is driving you crazy. So with friendships, and these are some statistics, most friendships end due to lack of common interests and connection. Okay, come on, Barbara, there we go, whoops. The most important quality in dating is personality. 50% of marriages end in divorce. And the number one objective in parenting lots of times is parent the child that you have, not the one you wish you had. I can remember saying to my kids, I wish you were, to my youngest, I wish you were more like Andrew. And then felt guilty for doing it. So that happens. Anyways, so the other thing is, do opposites attract or do they attack? Well, let me tell you. So now you've got a blueprint person, you have an action person, which you're going to hear about. So now when you first meet somebody, the blueprint person, says, you are so exciting. You're an entrepreneur. You show up unexpectedly. You make things happen because they're an action person. And the action person, they'll sit there and they'll say to the blueprint person, because these are the total opposites. My mouse is very touchy. You are so reliable. You have a job. You pay your bills. You have food in the refrigerator. Wow, let's see if I can do that. Nope. All right. Okay, so now you have the nurturing, which is the yellow, with the green, which you're going to hear about. Okay, the yellow says, to the knowledge person, you are so smart. You know everything. You solve all of our problems. You listen to me. Any sound familiar? Okay, so then you have the knowledge person, the green guy. You are so sweet. You pay attention to me. You take good care of me. You have so many friends. Because opposites attract. So let's meet them. Okay, so now you've been in a relationship for a while. So now the first one, they were so exciting. Now the blueprint is saying to the red guy, you're so annoying. You don't have a job or a plan. You're always late. You drive me crazy. And so then the red person is, oh, you're so boring. You always do the same thing. You don't take risks. You have too many rules. Okay, the nurturing, which is the yellow, and they're green. They're the opposites of each other. Okay, so now, whoops, the nurturing is saying, oh, you are so cold. You don't say you love me. You don't touch me. You don't spend time with me. Because now it becomes a complaint. Very things that attracted you now become the opposite. So then, oh, see, went too far. And the knowledge person says, oh, you're so needy. You are so touchy. You talk too much. You're too emotional. Does any of those sound familiar in a relationship? So that's what we want to look at. And so that you are going to understand the personality types and little tips, and we are going to give you an overview of how it all works. Okay, so we are going to meet Blueprint. And Blueprint, they value stability. They like structure. They like systems. They're planners. They do processes and predictability. They like responsibility. They're responsible. They just feel that it's their duty to do the things that they're supposed to do. They follow the rules. They love the credentials and they love titles and traditions. They are what we think of as being in the box. They are just in the box. A standard greeting for them is a firm handshake. And that's how you can kind of notice who they are. So a couple of communication tips of how to communicate with a Blueprint. Too far. Okay, tell the truth. Focus on the facts. Be calm. Be firm with your voice. Have a plan and know your schedule. Okay. And as if you're dating a Blueprint, so once you know how they are, my mouse is, so there we go. My mouse is really, okay, they like to have coupons. They like to save money. They like to plan. They like to make lists. So take advantage of early bird specials. They are thrifty. They like to save money. So take advantage of coupons and discounts. Never, ever be late. And you're going to show up a little early and be willing to wait. Come on, my mouse is whoops, sorry, too far. Okay, so if you parent a Blueprint person, a Blueprint child, give them a budget and a spending plan. Call and let them know if you're going to be late, and this applies to a spouse too. If you're going to be late or if plans have changed, give your child or spouse a list of chores, duties, rules, what expect, and write them down. Have a list. They like lists. Okay, so now you're going to meet the action person. The action, they are the ones that are absolutely spontaneous. They are out of the box. They are the ones that are the rocket ships. And what they value is they value freedom. They want flexibility. They want attention. They want competition. They love to take action. They love to win. They like to have fun. They're all about their image, and they like to have an opportunity to do things that are exciting. Okay, so that's so, and so be aware of what you're thinking of. If that, oh, that might sound like me. Their typical greeting is a high five because they are outside of the box. So a communication tip for a action person could be, no, come on, Barbara, I'm gonna have to fix this. Whoops. Skip the small talk. Get straight to the bottom line. Their traits are in the name, action. Know when to be silly, loud, funny, entertaining, and still, but maintain your own cool, absolutely, but pay attention to them. Notice if they have something new on. Make them the center of your world. So now if you're dating an action person, plan dates, go back. This is driving me crazy. Plan dates that are super fun, high energy, play games, be willing to compete, but give them an opportunity to win. Yeah, it's a biggie. Dress to impress. Be sure to compliment them on their dress, how they look. Notice their perfume. If you're a man and you're in a woman, or a woman, notice their aftershave. They like that. A parenting tip is for kids to be spontaneous. I'll just say it. Just be prepared to do something fun. Just be prepared to do things spontaneous with your kids. Last minute things. They love it. They love doing that. Okay, so now we have the nurturer. Whoopsie, there we are. Skip to the bottom. I see now went back there. So nurturing. We are the ones that we want to recycle the box. Nurturers, we tend, I'm telling on myself, I'm a nurturer. We want to talk about relationships. We are authentic. We are ourselves. We love being part of a community. We like doing charitable things. We want everybody to live in harmony with each other. We like being part of a team. We like being involved. We like making a difference in the world. What are we going to do to make a difference? So our greeting, hug me. And right now, I have to tell you, I am just having a really hard time of not being hugged. I absolutely am missing being hugged. My grandkids come and hug me, but even within the house, we are trying to, kind of do social distancing. But I am really struggling because I am a hugger. I like to hug, and I am really missing it. And that's one of the things that after David died, it was really hard for me to not be hugged. Anyway, so some communication tips for a nurturer. Genuinely listen to them. Don't get distracted. Have empathy. Don't judge. Be present. We only have this given moment. So be present with them in the moment. Put yourself kind of like in their shoes. Always have good eye contact and be willing to be just, if everybody talks about don't invade my personal space, all nurturers, we want you to invade our personal space. If you're in close contact, that's what we like that. We're huggers. All right. Some parenting tips is, dating. Say I love you. Give them lots of physical attraction, affection, hold hands, kiss, flirt, touch, whisper, hold each other, do all of those things. And that applies to kids too. I can remember one time, a friend of mine came to, she said, I'm just having so much trouble with my son. And I said, well, what's happening? And she said, oh, he's just been doing this, and this. She told me all sorts of things. And I looked at her and I said, well, Karen, when was the last time you hugged him? And it stopped her in her tracks. And she said, oh, I don't remember the last time I hugged him. I said, well, that's what I want you to do. Go home, hug him, tell him you love him, and see where it goes. She came to me the next day and she said, Barb, I can't believe the difference. It's like I have a new child. He was a nurturer. He was missing out on that motherly hugs. She just thought that when he became a teenager that he didn't need them. Every kid, once in a while, most of them, I know my boys did, especially the boys, they will go through, oh, Mom, do you have to hug me? And I got to the point where it was like, yes, I do. And I won't do it in public if you don't want me to, but I have to hug you. And both of my sons are both very willing to accept the hugging. And all of their relationships have been that way, that they will accept. They might not do it a lot, but they accept it. And that is so important because relationship, and especially if they happen to be, like we talked about in the first part, if they're a tactile, if they are a tactile learner, they need to do touch. Okay. So with a parenting tip, control your voice, speak softly, act gently. Don't be firm and hard. Take time to communicate. and do it in a loving way, into very soft. And I can remember my husband, and he was a knowledge blueprint person, and I can remember saying to him, David, I love you, but soften your tone. Soften your tone a little bit. Because you're coming across as being a little bit too much. So, and spend time. Okay, then our last one, and then we'll see who is what. So the knowledge person. Okay, no, I'm going to go past that. Here, the knowledge person. These are the ones that they're the science guys. They are affectionately now known as nerds. And being a nerd now is a good thing. It is the latest thing, because you know what? Finally, the world has woken up to the fact that we absolutely need nerds, because they're the ones that do the learning. They're the ones that are the science guys. They're the ones that they are experts. They absolutely know. They are the ones that do technology. They love science because they love research and development. That's where so many of our innovations now have come across, because of the knowledge people. And so when you can put a group together that have all of these 4 codes, the knowledge people, they're the ones that are going to know how the box was engineered. And the greedy is the Spock, because they love science. They love science fiction. They tend to, after the hug, greeting people here with the knowledge people, they tend to give you a business card. So some communication tips for the knowledge people. Oh, come on. There we go. Whoops, too far. Whoops. Don't you just love it? See, this is why you just modern technology. Be prepared to talk intelligently. Know your stuff and be ready to explain how it works. And if you're helping them, be precise in your instructions and let them ask the questions. And don't ever argue with them. They need to be right. And it's usually not worth the effort. So try a different approach. And I'm going to share with you a story of why this is so important. So if you're dating a knowledge person, just learn things together. I'll go with you. It's like learn new things together. Go exploring. Go to a bookstore or on a hike. Just do things that you're going to both and let them do the research. I have to tell you a story. My husband, he was a knowledge guy, and we were buying a new van. And I'm not that way. And he would come to me every day with, this, and this about these new vehicles, all these vehicles. And I finally looked at him and I said, David, when you have it down to 3 choices that you actually want me to go and get in the car and take for a test drive, until you are there, do not come to me, because I have no idea, number one, what you're talking about. And it was just driving me crazy, because every day he was coming and inundating me. And I was like, this is the one we're going to go look at. Well, no, I haven't finished my research yet, David. After this happened many, many times, I said, David, when you get it down to the top 3, then we will go. And that's exactly, he would drive me crazy because he was a research guy. He wanted to know. So maintain a routine at home. Make sure that they're not doing everything with their reading or electronics. Spend some one-on-one time listening and discussing, just because they want to be able to share their thoughts, and help them discover and participate in new things. So that's a parenting guide. Okay, so now we've talked about the 4 basics. Well, you know what? Out of those 4 basics, there's 24 combinations. But because we are, and all of you, I know, recognize probably your primary, but know that we are all part of, we're a little bit of everything. So there are 24 combinations. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the share. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you a story. When David and I got married, we were going on a trip. And Sherry has heard this story, but we were going on a trip. I came home one day and he was surrounded by maps and atlases and all sorts of things. And it was like, David, what are you doing? He says, well, I'm planning our trip. Okay, I'm the spontaneous nurturing girl. I said, oh, what trip? I'm thinking he's taking me somewhere the next day. He said, the trip we're going on, the one that we're going to fly into LA and we're going to drive across the desert and we're going to go to Las Vegas. Deep breath on my part. Honey, we are doing that in November. This is August. What are you doing? And he looked up at me in total surprise and he said, well, honey, because now he's little condescending there a little bit, because knowledge people are really smart. And he said, well, when are you going to figure out the route that we are going to take from LA to drive across the desert, all the details, drive across the desert to get to Las Vegas? And I said, David, when I get in the rental car in LA. I'm hearing laughter because that's funny. And we practically until the day he died, we would laugh about that story because it was just such a fundamental, and in that moment, we knew that we were fundamentally different. So if that was funny, and there were many other times like that, but can you see that would impact other parts of our relationship? And that's why learning your code is so important, and learning the code of the people around you. So my free gift to you today is to give you a way to get your own personality code. And I'm going to put it in the chat, and then you can do it. It's a freebie.